Have you ever loved someone who seemed completely beyond saving? Someone so lost in their destructive patterns that redemption felt impossible? Today's story explores perhaps the most radical question the Shiva Purana asks. Can love, real, unconditional love, reach across the boundaries of death itself to save someone who never even sought salvation? This is the story of how Cañculā's compassion accomplished what all the tortures of hell could not. This story has been adapted for modern audiences, based on J.L. Shastri's English translation. The sages sat in their circle, Saunaka's eyes bright with curiosity about what came next in Cañculā's extraordinary journey. Sutha, you're absolutely blessed, with your mind constantly absorbed in Shiva. That story you just told us was incredible and has definitely deepened my devotion. But I need to know, what happened to Cañculā after she found her own salvation? And please, tell us about her husband too. What became of him? Sutha's expression grew tender, as if about to share something precious. All right, Saunaka, let me tell you what happened next. It's quite extraordinary. After Cañculā attained salvation, she found herself in the divine realm, and there, in a moment that must have taken her breath away, she came face to face with Goddess Uma, Parvati herself, Shiva's beloved consort. Overwhelmed with emotion, Cañculā immediately fell to her knees, palms pressed together, her heart fluttering with joy and awe. Cañculā spoke, her voice trembling with reverence. O Mother of Skanda, Daughter of the mountains, you who are constantly served by the wisest beings, beloved of Shiva, bestower of all joy, you who are the very form of the supreme reality itself. You're worshipped by Vishnu, Brahma, and all the gods. You exist both with form and beyond form. You're the subtle primordial energy, pure existence, knowledge, and bliss combined. You create everything, sustain everything, and dissolve everything. You hold all qualities within you. You're the refuge of all divine beings. You sustain Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesha themselves. Sutha continued, his voice softening. After offering her prayers, Cañculā, who had now attained liberation, fell silent. Her shoulders stooped, tears of love streaming down her face. She couldn't speak anymore. Parvati, Shiva's beloved, who is always favorably disposed towards her devotees, was deeply moved by Cañculā's emotion. With great love, she spoke. Parvati said gently, Cañculā, my dear friend, I'm so pleased by your beautiful prayer. Tell me, what blessing do you want from me? There's nothing I cannot give you, Sutha narrated. Encouraged by Girija's kindness, Cañculā bowed again. With her head bent and palms joined in deep devotion, she made her request, Cañculā said, her voice barely above a whisper. Oh, celestial mother, I honestly have no idea where my husband is right now or where he's headed. Oh, benevolent one, you who always favor those in distress, please could you make arrangements so I can be with him again? Oh, great goddess Maheshani, my husband had a relationship with another woman whilst we were married. He died before I did. I don't know what happened to that sinner, Sutha continued. On hearing Cañculā's words, Parvati, the daughter of the Himalayas, who is very fond of justice, replied with loving honesty. Girija said, her voice carrying both compassion and truth. My dear, your wicked, sinful husband Binduga, that foolish wretch who was so obsessed with prostitutes, went straight to hell after his death. He underwent various horrific tortures in hell for many years, and even now, because of his remaining sins, he's become a pishacha, a tormented ghost, wandering in the Vindhya mountains. That wicked fellow is still undergoing all sorts of painful tortures. In his ghost form, he survives on nothing but wind and is suffering from every kind of misery imaginable. Sutha's voice carried the emotional weight of the moment. On hearing Parvati's words, Cañculā, who had been living a life of sacred virtue, was absolutely overwhelmed by the pain of hearing about her husband's suffering. She somehow steadied her shaking mind, bowed to Maheshvari, and with a heart full of worry, asked the goddess. Cañculā pleaded, O Maheshvari, O great goddess, please be kind to me. Please redeem my husband, even though he's a wicked person who committed so many terrible actions. What means exists by which my husband, that sinful wretch with his crooked mind, can attain salvation? O goddess, I bow to you. Please explain this to me. Sutha continued. On hearing the woman's heartfelt plea, Parvati, who is always favorably disposed towards her devotees, replied to her attendant Cañculā, delighted in her heart. Parvati said, her words like nectar. If your husband were to hear the holy story of Shiva, he would completely overcome his misery and attain salvation. On hearing these words from Gauri, Cañculā bent her shoulders, joined her palms, and bowed repeatedly with tremendous devotion. She earnestly requested the goddess to provide an opportunity for her husband to hear the story, so his sins could be destroyed and he could gain redemption. Sutha narrated, Gauri, the beloved of Shiva, moved by the woman's repeated requests, took pity on her, making it absolutely clear that she was favorably disposed to her devotees. With great love, she summoned Tumburu, the king of the Gandharvas, who was famous for singing songs of praise to Shiva. The daughter of the Himalayas spoke to him. Parvati commanded, O Tumburu, you who are Shiva's favorite, and always ready to do as I wish, may you be blessed. Accompany this lady immediately to the Vindhya mountains. There's an awfully terrible Pishacha there. Let me tell you his story. You'll find it quite interesting. This Pishacha was a Brahmin in his previous birth. He was this woman's husband. She's my attendant now. He was incredibly wicked. He was completely impure, never bothering with daily prayers or ablutions. His mind was constantly poisoned by anger. He ate all sorts of forbidden things. He quarreled with good people, and everything he did was harmful. He was violent, always carrying weapons, and cruelly oppressing poor people. He used to eat with his left hand. He set fire to other people's houses. He was friendly with the lowest outcasts. Every single day he took pleasure in the company of prostitutes, completely abandoning his own wife. That roguish sinner delighted in associating with wicked people. In his evil association with prostitutes, he destroyed all his good karma. And worse, coveting more and more wealth, he actually made his own wife sleep with other men for money. His evil ways continued right until his last breath. When he died, he went straight to Yama's city, that terrible place where sinners reap exactly what they've sown. After undergoing the tortures of many hells, that wicked wretch is now roaming the Vindhya mountains as a sinful, roguish Pishacha. I want you to narrate the holy, sanctifying tale of the sacred Shiva Purana, the story that destroys all sins, in front of him. Immediately after hearing the great story of the Shiva Purana, his soul will be cleared of sins, and he'll shed his ghostly form. I'm ordering you to set Binduga free from his miserable existence as a Pishacha, and bring him in your aerial chariot into the presence of Lord Shiva himself. Sutta continued. Commanded thus by Parvati, Tumburu, the lord of the Gandharvas, was absolutely delighted. He thought to himself how incredibly fortunate he was to receive such a sacred task. Tumburu, the companion of the divine sage Narada, traveled to the Vindhya mountains seated in his aerial chariot, accompanied by Cañculā, the now sinless woman. There they saw the Pishacha, alternating between laughing, crying, and loudly shouting. His body was absolutely huge, his jaws were immensely large, and his form was horrifically twisted and crooked. The powerful Tumburu, the singer of excellent songs praising Shiva, forcefully caught hold of the terrible Pishacha using magical nooses. Then, to create the perfect setting for discoursing on the Shiva Purana, Tumburu made elaborate festive arrangements. News began to spread across all the worlds. Oh, Tumburu has gone to the Vindhya mountains at the goddess's suggestion to narrate the story of the Shiva Purana to redeem a Pishacha. Even the divine sages rushed to that place, eager to listen to the sacred story themselves. The congregation that assembled there, reverently eager to listen to the Shiva Purana, was wonderful and incredibly auspicious. They bound the Pishacha with nooses and compelled him to sit there. With his lute in his hands, Tumburu began to sing the story of Parvati's consort, Lord Shiva himself. Starting with the first Samhitas and ending with the seventh, he clearly expounded the entire Shiva Purana, including its Mahatmya, the section about its greatness. On hearing the Shiva Purana consisting of 7 complete sections, all the listeners, listening with great reverence, felt themselves to be incredibly blessed. Sutha's voice rose with wonder. And then something extraordinary happened. The Pishacha, after hearing the holy Shiva Purana, cast off all his sins and discarded his ghostly body completely. He assumed a divine form, looking like the three-eyed, moon-crested god Shiva himself. His complexion turned brilliantly white. He wore white clothes, and his body was illuminated and beautifully adorned with divine ornaments. Taking up this divine body, the glorious Binduga, now completely transformed, sang the story of Parvati's consort alongside his wife. On witnessing this incredible transformation, all the divine sages were absolutely astonished and delighted in their minds. Gratified by hearing the wonderful story of Shiva, they returned to their respective realms, joyfully glorifying Shiva's name. Binduga, in his divine form, ascended the aerial chariot with tremendous joy. High up in the sky, with his beloved wife at his side, he shone brilliantly like a star. Singing the beautiful attributes of Shiva, he hastened towards Shiva's realm, accompanied by Tumburu and his devoted wife. When they arrived, Binduga was warmly welcomed by both Shiva and Parvati. He was lovingly made their attendant, and his wife became Girija's personal companion. In that permanent abode of excellent bliss and sublime radiance, he acquired an unassailable residence and completely unobstructed pleasure. Sutha concluded with reverence. Thus I've narrated this holy story that removes sins, is highly delightful to Shiva and Parvati, and increases pure devotion. Anyone who listens to this account with devotion and recites it piously shall enjoy immense pleasures in this world and obtain liberation in the next. I'll be honest, Binduga's story makes me deeply uncomfortable, and I'm still not sure I understand it. Here's this man who did literally everything wrong, who hurt everyone who loved him, who died unrepentant and suffered for it, and then gets saved anyway, not because he earned it, not because he changed, but because someone loved him enough to refuse to let go. And I keep coming back to Cañculā in that moment before the goddess. She could have said, he deserves what he got. She would have been completely justified. Instead, she asked, how can I help him? I'm trying to understand what the text is really saying here. Is it that love is more powerful than justice? That transformation can come from outside ourselves when we're incapable of generating it from within. Or maybe it's something simpler and more uncomfortable, that our categories of deserving and undeserving don't actually work the way we think they do. We live in a world of permanent condemnation, where people are defined forever by their worst moments. But these three stories, Devaraja accidentally hearing whilst dying, Cañculā breaking open at rock bottom, and now Binduga saved by someone else's refusal to abandon him, they're painting a different picture. One where grace reaches further than punishment, where no one is permanently excluded, and where love can cross boundaries we thought were absolute. I don't have neat answers, but I notice this story keeps challenging my assumptions about fairness, about how change happens, about what's possible. In our next episode, we'll explore the guidelines for how to actually listen to these stories, which, after Binduga's tale, feels essential. Because if stories this uncomfortable can somehow lead to liberation, I definitely want to understand how that works. What do you make of Binduga's redemption? Does it feel like justice or grace or something else entirely? Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell. Until next time, keep questioning, keep practicing, and keep dancing with the mystic.